Hi folks! You got problems with finding the right tool to get the job done? That no matter how far and wide you search, just no luck? Well, my friends, look no further. All your gardening problems are now solved with the miraculous garden gopher. Yes sirree, with the miraculous garden gopher, turn that barren ground into rich fertile soil within seconds. How about a demonstration? Oh yes, look at that. Smooth, easy to handle, nice grip. But wait, that's not all. Did you know that the miraculous garden gopher even works on dried out whiny whores? That's right, my friends. Take this killjoy for example. Ew, who would ever want to fuck her? But with the miraculous garden gopher between the legs, you can get those juices flowing in no time. Just look at her now, with all those extra holes. More holes for more poles. Our story brings us to Lorre's party store, a small store located in Lakewood near Denver. This was before the world turned red. The individual you see before you is Harold Lorre, the owner of this party store. Even though business wasn't as equally successful as Gangbusters, which was 2 blocks down the street, it did okay. Not only did Lorre's have a decent supply of party goods, but also provided entertainment services for birthdays. The story behind Lorre's was that the business was inherited by Harold after his father passed away. Running his father's business wasn't something that Harold had any interest in. Deeply, Harold despised it, but with his recent divorce, there wasn't a better option. However, there was a little motivation that kept him working there, some enthusiasm that pushed Harold through the mundane life of balloons, misery, and irritable children, an inner drive if you want to call it. You see, Lorre's party store would normally see its share of moms, MILFs. I mean, we're talking about some serious hot moms who would frequently come to Lorre's looking for balloons or party supplies for their 3 to 5 kids, the raging hormones of an American housewife. God, Harold's dreams of a horny housewife having the urge to fuck him after hiring him as a birthday clown. You know, a desperate housewife who just wants to know what it's like to fuck a clown. A shameful act to share amongst her other horny housewife friends. Honk, honk. But there was always one woman who was the focal point of Harold's filthy imagination. A frequent customer. A mother of 3 children. The desire Harold had for her. Something about this one that was special to Harold. The kind of woman you can get lost inside. Some would even consider these moments as an example of a love story, or an irresistible desire to see these filthy dreams becoming a reality. Her name was Lorre. When the world turned red, when humanity became a story of violence, sex, cannibalism, and survival, the unimaginable terror of this new world. However, it wouldn't be until years later before we start seeing an underlying horror. We're talking about the monsters hidden amongst us, the ones that hide in the light, while acting out in the shadows, now free to roam wild. Some theorize that the cross isn't a viral outbreak, but God's curse upon mankind, humanity being exposed for what it truly is. Till this day, nobody knows how it all began or what caused the outbreak. But if you want to compare a normal man to someone who's infected, one doesn't need to look any further than Harold Lorre. It was originally said that when the outbreak occurred, first thing Harold did was make an unsuccessful attempt in trying to save his kids and ex-wife. before he saved Lorre from her infected family when driving down the street she lived on. However, knowing of Lorre's manipulation and misleading others, the events following the outbreak may have been fabricated. Harold Lorre, a man who spent his long days fantasizing over a perverted fantasy, that when the world turned, you have to wonder if it was about survival for Harold, or an opportunity to pursue those dreams when driving down the same road that Lorre lived on. You can imagine the feeling when he found Lorre running towards his party van, trying to escape her infected children. Harold Lorre fulfilling his dreams by becoming Lorre's knight in shining armor when running over her infected children and her husband. His dreams of saving her, dreams of being saved, dreams that are coming true. There's a thing about dreams, my friends, that if a person were to see his or her dreams come true, may become another person's worst nightmare. Confess, a world turned red is just a world of dreams coming true. According to Harold, they do come true. A blood-soaked world full of screaming and laughter, murder and sodomy. It's like Disneyland for a man like Harold Lorre. Him and Lorre hiding in a sewer while the cross are going through his truck up above. The terror of hearing screams, the excitement of getting the chance to have Lorre in his arms, comforting her as she cried over the death of her children, touching her. God, how long he've waited for this moment. If Lorre keeps on with that whimpering over the death of her children, the cross is bound to find them. Imagine the things they'll do if they're found. Those terrible things. I don't think there's no other place Harold would rather be right now. Down here, Harold keeping Lorre, his Lorre, safe. Her protector now. Making sure that she stays real quiet. Don't move, Lorre. Don't even say another word. This is love, Lorre. True love. Their bodies bound together forever. How a traumatic world-changing event would create a love story? Well, depends on what your definition of what love is. While there are people in the streets being raped and killed, children being slain, a bloodied world of pure imagination, Harold can't help but feel like everything that's happening was meant to be. That if none of this had happened, there wouldn't be a love between Harold and his Lorre. Harold, finally embracing the pleasures of his perverted fantasy, 'tis romance. And how quickly that romance turned into desire. How long Harold waited for this moment, wanting to touch, taste his Lorre, and the immense appetite for more. This was an undying love. Harold, who felt so connected with his Lorre that he wanted her to be his, body and soul. He loved Lorre so much that he even wanted marriage. Lorre has a nice ring to it. But even Harold's perverted fairy tale began seeing cracks. That his lover, his precious Lorre, was just a shell of her former self. A woman traumatized and emotionally crippled by the horrors of losing her children, seeing the world turning chaotic and being subjected to Harold's perversions. Emotionally, mentally, Lorre was practically dead. But when showing signs of life, it would come with tears, a pitiful urge to scream. And how Harold despised it when seeing Lorre shedding tears, how it ruined his blissful moment. How furious Harold would get when realizing that he was not in control. And even after having the best sex, I meant making love, and wanting her to be Mrs. Lorre, Harold just couldn't stand it when seeing this ungrateful bitch cry. After all he'd done for her, saving her, protecting her, giving her most of the food they had, and this is how she repays him? And it was on one night when Harold struck Lorre in a fit of rage for her emotions, cursing her before storming off and leaving her alone. A lover's spat. The night when Harold's world would change. and learn a powerful lesson between fantasy and reality. Some say that night was the night when Harold Lorre changed. The birthing of a monster. Some say that monster was born as a result of the outbreak. But if we were to be honest, I think that monster was around long before the cross. Kinda scary, isn't it? How someone's idea of love could become your worst nightmare. Think about it. No, I'm serious. Think about it. Right now, there's a shy, kind-hearted man eyeing you. He's fantasizing over you. He dreams of you. He desires you to experience life, happiness. A taste of heaven is to have you become part of his fairy tale, to turn it into reality. Scary how love is defined in so many ways in this silly world of ours. But in this new world, my friends, even the most perverted and one-sided fantasies must face the horrors of a reality that has a red rash across its face. That night was when the Cross found Harold's hiding place in the back room of a department store, where they found his precious Lorre. As they began chewing on her arms and legs, Harold watched as Lorre began to turn, watching as this lifeless beauty began showing life, not the innocent Lorre he knew. The tears that Harold would shed when seeing Lorre showing excitement when they grabbed a garden weasel and began using it between her legs, getting her nice and ready for some ultra-violent fun, making more holes for them to fuck with. Harold watched Lorre's sadistic joy of having her insides spilling out, and they each took turns fucking his Lorre. And she was liking it. God, she was loving it. That filthy, backstabbing whore was loving it. When they were done, and the Cross left, Harold watched as Lorre spent her final moments, telling Harold how much she loved it. God, the best moment of her miserable fucking life. Far better than what this pencil-dick fuck had to offer. God, she loved it. Fuck you, Harold, she loved it. They say that rejection builds character. But in the case of Harold Lorre, I think this rejection awakened a monster. In this world, people fear the Crossed. Wait till they see what this psychopath is capable of. Wait till Harold gets a chance to show every filthy whore out there that he can do it better. Oh yes, he can do it better. And he's going to show them. He's going to show everyone that he can do it better.